Again, Republic Act 9514, which was enacted in 2008, is the Fire Code of the Philippines. It obviously replaces the old Fire Code, which was BD 1185. And another super basic thing that you need to know about is that the implementing rules and regulations of the Fire Code were updated in 2019. So when you study the Fire Code, you have to make sure that you're studying the latest version, which would be the 2019 version of the implementing rules and regulations. So the Fire Code is a very, very comprehensive document, sobrang haba. It's divided into 14 chapters. Okay. So I think what's important when studying the Fire Code is not just um, being able to study it well, but being able to study it smartly. Okay, you need to know which parts of it to prioritize. And I'm of the opinion that us architects are mostly concerned about three particular chapters of the Fire Code, three particular rules. Rules number 3, 9, and 10. Okay, I am not saying that the other chapters or the other rules should be disregarded. I'm not saying that the board exam will never ask questions from the other rules. But I'm just saying that considering the limited time that you have and considering the your limited capacity to retain information, I think that these three chapters would probably be the best chapters to focus on and chapters to for your resources and time towards. Okay, so again, the chapters that I personally would focus on are chapters 3, 9, and 10. Chapter 3 or rule number 3 is the definition of terms chapter. Rule number 9 is the chapter about the enforcement of fire safety measures. Now, medyo procedural yung chapter na yan. It explains procedures, how buildings are inspected, ano permits, ano documentation, etc. Pero very important. And the most important is rule number 10, yung fire safety measures chapter, because as designers, ito yung pinabukuhanan natin ng design requirements. Okay? These three are the chapters that I will focus on in this lecture. And I'll start with rule number 3, definition of terms. Now, this chapter is sobrang haba. Okay, you definitely should read all of the terms on your own. Okay, I'm only going to be able to cover a few terms in this video. Okay, so I'll begin with automatic fire suppression system. It's defined as an integrated piping system connected to a source of extinguishing agent, which suppresses fires when actuated or activated by an automatic detecting device. Okay, so that's the definition of an automatic fire suppression system. Fire marshal is the head of the city fire station or the municipal fire station. Okay, it's also in the definition of terms where fires are classified into A, B, C, D, and K. Okay, I'll begin with Class A fires. Class A fires are fires that involve ordinary combustible materials like wood, cloth, rubbers, and plastics. So ordinary combustible materials, that's your key phrase. Class B fires are fires that involve flammable liquids and gases. No? Flammable liquids and gases. Class C fires are fires that involve energized electrical equipment, not electrical equipment. Class D fires are fires that involve combustible materials like sodium, magnesium, potassium, and other similar materials, so combustible materials. Class K fires, the last one, are those fires in cooking appliances that involve combustible cooking media like vegetable oil, animal oil, and fats. So classes A, B, C, D, and K. Other terms, standpipe system is a system of vertical pipes in a building to which fire hoses can be attached on each floor. Dry standpipe is a type of standpipe system in which the pipes are normally not filled with water. Water is introduced into the system through fire service connections when needed. So we know what a standpipe is. Again, ito yung pipes daw na kung saan ikinakabit yung fire hoses. Right? And there are two kinds of standpipes, na meron dry and merong combination standpipe. No? Pero yung dry standpipe, it's not normally filled with water. Lalagyan lang siya ng tubig when there's a fire or when it's needed. On the other hand, a combination standpipe It's a pipeline system filled with water connected to a constant water supply for the use of the Bureau of Fire Protection. So um, sometimes we call these standpipes wet standpipes. In contrast with the term dry standpipe. In combination would be wet standpipe. Okay, fire alarm, any visual or audible signal produced by a device or a system to warn the occupants of the building or the firefighters or the firefighting elements about the presence or the danger of fire. An audible or visual signal. Fire door is a fire resistive door. This is the type of door that we use when we have openings in fire separation walls or partitions. Fire hazard is a very broad term. It refers to any condition or act that increases or may cause an increase in the probability of the occurrence of fire or which may obstruct, delay, hinder, or interfere with the firefighting operations and the safeguarding of life and property during a fire. Fire resistance rating is the time duration that a material or construction can withstand the effect of a standard fire test. Fire resistance rating, how long the material can withstand yung effects of fire, but not just any kind of fire. May standard fire test tayo tinatawag. So standardized dapat yung fire when we measure yung fire resistance rating. Firewall is a wall designed to prevent the spread of fire, having a fire resistance rating of not less than 4 hours, with sufficient structural stability to remain standing even if the construction on either side of the wall collapses under fire conditions. So, alam naman natin kung ano yung firewall, but I would like to highlight a couple of things. Actually, naka-bold na yung text. It's a little bit hard to see, but there are two requirements from the fire code for firewalls. First, the fire resistance rating should not be less than 4 hours. And second, there should be sufficient structural stability such that even if the construction law on either side of the wall collapses, the wall would still be strong enough to remain standing. So those are the requirements. And I'd like to point out that walang binigay na dimension, walang binigay na minimum thickness, etc. in fire code. It's more of a performance requirement. It's not really parang binibigay na yung dimensions or how to do it. Ang binigay lang is the performance required of the firewall. And again, the performance we're looking for is 4 hours, and that level of structural stability. High-rise building, any building 15 meters or taller is considered high-rise in the fire code. Horizontal exit, a passageway from one building to another or through or around the wall in approximately the same floor level. So basically, a way out of the building, pero horizontal yung paglabas. No? Like, you get out of the building horizontally, that would probably mean that you would be crossing towards another building, or that would probably mean that you would be going around or through a wall at approximately the same floor level. Means of egress is a continuous and unobstructed route of exit from one point in the building to a public way. Basically, daan palabas. Okay, daan palabas. Occupancy is the use of the building, the purpose for which a building or a space is used. Occupant load, which is an important term, is the maximum number of persons that may be allowed to occupy a particular building or space. Panic hardware is a mechanical device consisting of linkages and horizontal bars across a door, which, when pushed from the inside, will cause the door to open and facilitates exit from the building, structure, or facility. Fire trap is a building that is unsafe in case of fire because it will burn easily, either because it will burn easily or because it lacks adequate exits. Fire trap. Sprinkler system is an integrated network of hydraulically designed piping system installed in a building, structure, or area with outlets arranged in a systematic pattern, which automatically discharges water when activated by heat or combustion products from a fire. So, sprinkler system. This explains parang the characters that will be discussed in rule number 9. Okay, so rule number 8 talks about the fire safety enforcers. So let's begin. So there are 3 fire safety enforcers in this rule. We have the fire safety inspector, or the FSI, the plan evaluator, and then we have the chief of the fire safety enforcement section, or the fire safety enforcement unit. Okay, let's just quickly talk about ano yung trabaho ng bawat isa. The fire safety inspector, which I think is fairly self-explanatory, is tasked with the inspection of buildings to assess or to ensure compliance with the fire code and its fire safety requirements and other related laws and ordinances. That's his main duty, is to inspect buildings kasi fire safety inspector siya. And the goal is to check if the required fire safety requirements or the required fire safety features are complied with. No? After the inspection, he would typically make recommendations as to compliance, as to the need to make corrections, no corrective actions, etc. And of course, he would prepare documents, which we'll discuss in the next chapter in rule number 9. The plan evaluator, on the other hand, is tasked with the review of plans and specs, including the fire protection system, to determine compliance with the fire code, the building code, and other life safety standards. So the main job of the plan evaluator is plan review, okay, plan evaluation. Okay. From time to time, the plan evaluator may be asked to inspect the building during construction, but only to determine compliance with the plans that were approved. Okay, but the main concern of the plan evaluator is plans. And finally, we have the chief of the fire safety FSES, fire safety enforcement section. Okay, the chief of the fire safety enforcement section. Um, the inspector and the evaluator, yung dalawang taong discussed natin in the preceding slides, they report to the chief, okay, the chief of the fire safety enforcement section. So the chief will typically review reports of the fire safety enforcers, no? And depending on the findings of the fire safety enforcers, depending on their findings, he would make recommendations to the fire marshal. He also assists the fire marshal in implementing or in the implementation of the fire code. He supervises the fire safety inspectors, and he's also tasked with making recommendations to the fire marshal as regards the filing of appropriate charges against violators of the fire code.